how much profit might be sort of quietly slipping away in your business, not from sales, but from something that seems, well, kind of mundane, like compliance errors. And what if, you can not only plug those leaks, but actually turn what feels like a penalty into, well, profit.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Exactly. Well, today, we're diving deep into that very idea. We're looking at a really interesting new book. It's called Penalty to Profit, GST Secrets for Manufacturers. Just came out, June 2025. Written by CA Ishwar Yadav.
Right. And our goal here really is to pull out the most practical, actionable stuff from this guide. It's about 110 pages, give or take.
Pretty concise, then.
Yeah, very. And we want to show you how Indian GST compliance, which, let's face it, often feels like a real burden.
Oh, definitely.
Can actually be rethought, used as a strategic tool, believe it or not, to protect and maybe even boost your profit margins.
Okay.
Think of it like a handbook, specifically for manufacturers, helping them dodge penalties and just manage compliance smarter.
So we'll unpack the core ideas, look at what makes it stand out, hear from actual readers.
See what people are saying on the ground.
Exactly. And figure out who can really, really benefit from this. It sounds super timely.
It is.
All right, so the title itself, Penalty to Profit. It's bold, catches your eye immediately. How does the author actually suggest making that leap? I mean, beyond just, avoiding the fines, what's the core thinking?
Well, what's really interesting is how it reframes GST altogether. First off, it's all about making the GST rules simpler.
Okay.
It tackles these complicated bits like input tax credit, ITC.
So basically the tax you paid on inputs, yeah.
Exactly. Tax on raw materials, services that you can claim back, hopefully, to lower your final tax bill, or things like reverse charge mechanisms, tax structure planning. It breaks all that down. Clear, understandable tips.
That's needed.
Definitely. And crucially, it points out the common mistakes. The ones manufacturers often make without even realizing it. And then gives you actual strategies to just, avoid them.
So if I'm running a factory and I'm, say, confused about how much ITC I can actually get back, this book helps cut through the noise, shows me where I might be losing money.
Precisely. It's not just about simplifying the rules on paper. It simplifies finding your own specific pitfalls and turning those, into opportunities. Which leads straight to the second big idea, strategic compliance.
Strategic compliance. Okay, tell me more about that.
This is where it gets really powerful for business owners, I think. It argues GST isn't just a legal hoop to jump through.
To tick in boxes.
Right. It's actually a business lever. A strategic tool. The focus shifts to actively using the system, not just reacting to it.
Okay.
Using it to proactively cut costs, stop profit leakage, and really protect your margins.
That's a totally different mindset. So instead of compliance just being this, cost center, you're saying the book shows how maybe a manufacturer could optimize their supply chain or even pricing based on understanding GST better. Could you sketch out an example?
Absolutely. Think about a manufacturer moving goods across state lines. Happens all the time.
Sure.
Without thinking strategically, they might just see the IGST as a fixed cost, right? Part of doing business.
Yeah, unavoidable.
But this book might show them how, say, different invoicing setups or maybe small tweaks to their distribution network based on some GST nuances could actually lead to real savings on that very tax, turning what looked like a fixed expense into, a bit of a competitive edge.
Wow.
And to make sure this isn't just theory, it uses practical, checklist-based learning, real tools.
Like actual lists.
Yeah, clear do's and don'ts, compliance blueprints you can pick up and use straight away to see where you stand.
That sounds incredibly useful. It translates the tax jargon into actual steps someone can take tomorrow.
Exactly.
So for that business owner maybe who isn't a CA, what makes this book stand out? What are its key strengths?
Well, number one is definitely the language. It's simple, easy to grasp, written specifically for non-accountants. Totally. Then there's the practicality. It's packed with action steps, not just, abstract ideas. It's also really audience-focused, laser-focused on small and mid-sized manufacturers in India, addresses their specific world.
Right, not trying to be everything to everyone.
No, exactly. And the compact format helps. Around 110 pages, you can actually read it quickly and start using it.
Doesn't feel overwhelming.
Not at all. Plus, it uses visual support, infographics, charts. Good for visual learners.
Nice.
And finally, the timeliness. June 2025 publication, right before key GST return dates. It's very relevant right now.
Okay. It sounds good on paper, but, it's one thing for us to say it's practical, what are real readers actually saying?
Yeah.
Got any feedback that really stood out?
Oh, definitely. There's one from Sujay Kandush on Amazon. He called it, and I quote, "a must-read for any manufacturing business owner. It opened my eyes to how much money we were losing in silent compliance errors."
Wow, selling compliance errors. That really hits home, doesn't it?
It does. It suggests it's not just about avoiding big penalty notices, but finding those hidden everyday leaks.
That's a powerful point. Any others?
Yeah, there's CA Rajiv Sharma. He noted on LinkedIn that it simplified GST in such a way that even a factory floor supervisor could understand what mistakes to watch out for.
That's impressive getting it down to that level.
It really is. And one more, Chetna Enterprises on Amazon praised it as powerful, crisp, and focused on saving real money, not just theory.
Real money, not just theory.
Yeah, so the feedback really backs up the practical, tangible benefit claims.
It certainly seems impactful for that specific audience, but like any resource, it must have its limits, right? Who might find this maybe too narrow or perhaps not deep enough?
That's a fair point, and yeah, there are limitations to consider. The main one is its niche focus. It really is only for manufacturers in India.
So service providers, exporters.
Exactly. They won't find tailored advice here. It's just not for them. Also, it might be too brief for really complex situations. Well, large companies, the ones with multiple GSTNs.
Right, those unique tax IDs for different states or business units.
Yeah. Or those with really extensive, complicated interstate operations. They'll probably need something much more detailed.
Makes sense.
And finally, you could say it's pitched at a beginner level regarding tax specifics. It's perfect for owners, managers, executives who aren't tax pros.
But a seasoned GST consultant.
They might find it a bit introductory, useful perhaps, but maybe not groundbreaking for them.
Okay, that clarifies the scope. So after digging into all this, what does it boil down to for our listener? Who should really think about grabbing a copy of this book?
Well, based on everything, the ideal readers are pretty clear. Definitely manufacturing business owners wanting to protect that bottom line. Factory managers, production heads, people who need to get how GST impacts day-to-day operations.
Right, the folks on the ground?
Exactly. Also, CA firms that work with MSMEs, those micro, small, and medium enterprises, they could use its insights for their clients.
Good point.
Finance professionals within manufacturing companies, obviously. And maybe even startups just setting up their production units. Get it right from the start,
Get the foundation solid from day one. Makes sense. So the final verdict on penalty to profit seems pretty strong. We're giving it a 4.6 out of 5 stars. High marks, especially for relevance and sheer practical usefulness.
Yeah, it really does feel like a must-read for pretty much any Indian manufacturing unit that suspects they might be, well, bleeding profits from these unnoticed GST mistakes.
We've certainly covered a lot of ground here, really exploring how GST compliance could shift from being seen as just a potential penalty
a cost,
to actually being a strategic profit center. It's quite a powerful shift in thinking.
It really is. And, this kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? It raises a question for you, the listener.
Go on.
Well, if something as seemingly complex and, let's be honest, often frustrating as GST can be reframed for profit, what other areas in your own field, your own business, what other maybe compliance burdens or silent errors might just be sitting there waiting to be understood differently, strategically, waiting to be turned into an unexpected advantage?
That's a great question to ponder. Keep those thoughts brewing. Thanks so much for joining us for this deep dive.
My pleasure.
We really hope this gave you some valuable insights to think about for your own bottom line.